All right, listen up. Let's focus on defense today.
The gymnasium fell silent as Marcus Chun walked through the doors. At 52 years old, his graying hair and weathered face told stories of decades on the basketball court. But today, something was different. The young players, teenagers with fresh sneakers and confident smirks, stopped their game and stared. "Isn't that the guy who got banned?" one whispered. Marcus heard it. He'd heard worse. 3 months ago, he was America's most beloved retired athlete. Today, he was the man the media called the biggest disgrace in sports history. But what they didn't know was the real story. What they didn't know would change everything. Before we continue, if you believe in second chances and the power of truth, hit that like button and subscribe. This story will challenge everything you think you know about loyalty, honor, and what it means to stand up for what's right. Marcus Chun wasn't born into privilege. He grew up in a small town in Ohio, where his father ran a local hardware store and his mother taught elementary school. Basketball became his escape, his passion, and eventually his ticket to a better life. By the time he was 25, Marcus was playing for the Chicago Warriors, one of the NBA's most respected teams. He wasn't the flashiest player. He didn't score the most points or make the highlight reels every night. But he was known for something more valuable: integrity. His teammates trusted him. Coaches relied on him. Fans respected him. For 18 years, Marcus played with honor. He mentored young players, visited children's hospitals on his days off, and never missed a community event. When he retired at 43, the city threw him a parade. They named a youth basketball program after him. He became a coach, dedicating his life to teaching the next generation not just how to play basketball, but how to be good people. But 3 months ago, everything changed. The scandal broke on a Tuesday morning. Marcus woke up to hundreds of missed calls and text messages. When he turned on the news, his face filled the screen. The headline read, "Marcus Chun accused of point shaving in 2015 championship game." Point shaving meant intentionally losing games for money, one of the most serious crimes in sports. The accusation came from James Sullivan, a former teammate who claimed Marcus had taken $500,000 from illegal gamblers to throw the championship game 9 years ago. The evidence seemed damning. Sullivan provided bank statements showing a large deposit into an account with Marcus's name. He had text messages that appeared to show conversations about the deal. Sports commentators who once praised Marcus now called him a fraud. Social media erupted with anger and disappointment. Within 48 hours, the Chicago Warriors removed Marcus's jersey from their stadium. The basketball program that bore his name was renamed. Former friends stopped answering his calls. His wife, Jennifer, stood by him, but he could see the doubt even in her eyes. "Did you do it?" she had asked quietly one night. "Never," he replied, his voice breaking. "I would never betray the game I love." But in today's world, accusations spread faster than truth. Marcus was guilty in the court of public opinion before any investigation began. The next 2 months were the darkest of Marcus's life. Everywhere he went, people stared. Some shouted angry words. Others just looked away, as if he had become invisible, worse than invisible, something to be ashamed of. He tried to defend himself. He held a press conference, his hands shaking as he gripped the podium. "I did not throw that game," he said, his voice steady despite the cameras flashing in his face. "I gave everything I had to that championship. I would never dishonor my team, my city, or this sport." But the reporters didn't believe him. They asked hostile questions, their tones suggesting they'd already decided his guilt. "Mr. Chun, how do you explain the $500,000 deposit? Mr. Chun, why should anyone trust you now? Mr. Chun, don't you think you owe the fans an apology?" His lawyer advised him to stay quiet until the official investigation concluded. But silence only made things worse. People assumed his silence meant guilt. The youth league he had coached asked him to step down. Parents didn't want their children learning from someone like him. The words stung worse than any physical pain he'd experienced on the court. One afternoon, Marcus sat alone in his garage, looking at the boxes of trophies and awards he'd accumulated over his career. Each one represented hours of hard work, sacrifice, and dedication. Now they felt like monuments to a lie, Not his lie, but the lie the world believed about him. His phone rang. It was his daughter, Sarah, calling from college. "Dad, are you okay?" Her voice was thick with emotion. "I'm fine, sweetheart," he lied. "People are saying terrible things online. My roommate asked me if it was true. Dad, I defended you, but..." She paused. "Is there any chance you made a mistake?" That question from his own daughter nearly broke him. "Sarah, I promise you I never did what they're accusing me of. I need you to believe me." The silence on the other end of the line lasted too long. That night, Marcus considered giving up. Maybe it would be easier to just disappear, to move somewhere far away where nobody knew his name. He'd lost his reputation, his career, his place in the community. What was left to fight for? But then he remembered something his father had told him when he was young. "Son, the measure of a man isn't what he does when things are easy. It's what he does when everything falls apart." Marcus decided he wouldn't give up. He would find the truth no matter what it cost. Marcus hired a private investigator named Rita Gonzalez. Rita was a former FBI agent who specialized in financial crimes. She was expensive, more than Marcus could really afford, but she was his last hope. "I believe you," Rita told him during their first meeting. "And I'll tell you why. I've investigated dozens of point-shaving cases. They all have patterns. Your case doesn't fit those patterns." For 6 weeks, Rita dug into the evidence. She analyzed the bank statements, traced the text messages, and interviewed people who had been involved in the 2015 championship season. What she discovered was shocking. The bank account wasn't Marcus's at all. It belonged to James Sullivan, the man who had accused Marcus. Sullivan had opened the account using forged documents and Marcus's identity. The real point shaver was Sullivan himself, and he had framed Marcus to cover his tracks. The text messages had been doctored using editing software, making it appear that Marcus was involved when he never was. Rita found the original unaltered messages on Sullivan's old phone, which he'd sold to a pawn shop and forgotten about. But the most damaging discovery was why Sullivan had done it. After retiring from basketball, Sullivan had fallen into serious debt from gambling. He owed dangerous people more than $1 million. When those people discovered his connection to Marcus, a respected, beloved figure, they came up with a plan. If Sullivan could frame Marcus and destroy his reputation, the attention would shift away from Sullivan's own crimes. The chaos would also drive down the investigation, as authorities focused on the bigger name. Rita presented her findings to the NBA's Ethics Committee and the District Attorney's Office. First, they were skeptical. How could such an elaborate frame job go unnoticed? But the evidence was undeniable. Phone records, bank documents, testimony from the pawn shop owner. Everything pointed to Sullivan's guilt and Marcus's innocence. The district attorney called a press conference. Marcus stood beside him, his wife Jennifer holding his hand tightly. "After a thorough investigation, we have concluded that Marcus Chun is completely innocent of all charges," the district attorney announced. "James Sullivan has been arrested for fraud, identity theft, and conspiracy. Mr. Chen's reputation has been unjustly damaged, and we apologize for the pain this has caused." The room erupted with questions, but Marcus barely heard them. Relief washed over him like a wave. Jennifer wrapped her arms around him, tears streaming down her face. "I knew," she whispered. "I always knew." 2 weeks after Marcus's exoneration, the Chicago Warriors held a ceremony at Center Court. The stadium was packed, not with the 20,000 seats it usually held for games, but with hundreds of people who had supported Marcus through his darkest time, and thousands more who wanted to apologize for doubting him. The team's owner stood at a microphone, Marcus beside him. "We made a terrible mistake," the owner said, his voice heavy with regret. "We acted on accusations before waiting for the truth. We removed Marcus's jersey from these walls when we should have stood by a man who had given us 18 years of honor and dedication." He turned to Marcus. "Today, we're not just putting your jersey back up. We're retiring it permanently. Number 23 will never be worn by another Warriors player. And we're establishing the Marcus Chun Integrity Award, given each year to the player who best exemplifies character, honor, and dedication to the community." The crowd rose to their feet, applause echoing through the stadium. Marcus looked out at the faces, some familiar, some new, and felt something he hadn't felt in months: hope. When it was his turn to speak, Marcus approached the microphone slowly. He looked down at his hands, the same hands that had held basketballs, trophies, and his children when they were small. Then he looked up at the crowd. 3 months ago, I almost gave up, he said quietly. I almost let the lies win. I almost believed that the truth didn't matter anymore. That in this world, accusations are enough to destroy a person. He paused, gathering his thoughts. But I learned something important. Truth does matter. Justice does exist. And sometimes the hardest thing we'll ever do is stand firm when the whole world is pushing against us. Marcus looked directly into the cameras, knowing millions were watching. If you're going through something difficult right now, if people have turned against you, if you feel alone and defeated, don't give up. The truth has a way of rising to the surface. It might take time. It might cost you everything. But it's worth fighting for. He smiled, a genuine smile that reached his eyes for the first time in months. And to the young people watching, remember that character is what you do when nobody's looking, but also what you hold on to when everybody is. Don't let the noise drown out who you really are. The applause was deafening, but Marcus wasn't listening to the applause. He was looking at his daughter Sarah in the front row, tears streaming down her face, holding up a sign that read, "I never stopped believing, Dad." That moment, more than the restored jersey, more than the award in his name, more than the apologies, that moment made everything worth it. The moral of the story. Marcus Chen's story reminds us that in a world where accusations spread faster than truth, character is what sustains us. He could have become bitter, could have given up when his reputation was destroyed. Instead, he chose to fight for the truth, not just for himself, but for everyone who would come after him. The story also teaches us about the danger of rushing to judgment. How many people condemned Marcus based on headlines rather than evidence? How many former friends abandoned him because it was easier than standing by someone controversial? In our digital age where a single accusation can go viral in minutes, we must remember to pause, investigate, and give people the benefit of the doubt. A reputation built over decades can be destroyed in seconds, but that doesn't make the destruction just or true. Most importantly, Marcus's story shows that resilience isn't about never falling down. It's about getting back up, even when the world says you should stay down. If this story inspired you to believe in truth and justice, smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell. Share this video with someone who needs to hear this message today. Have you ever been falsely accused or seen someone's reputation destroyed unfairly? Share your story in the comments below. Your experience might encourage someone else who's fighting their own battle for truth. Remember, the truth always matters, and it's never too late to stand up for what's right.